All right. So again, we need to determine 2 pi over 3, right? Now, let me ask you this, Emily, since you said that. If I say 2/3 of something, is that less than or greater than the whole? Less than, right? So remember, our whole that we're talking about is pi, right? And how far pi? Pi is halfway around the circle, right? It makes a straight line. So what is the point? What is the point at pi? Remember, what's this point? -1, 0. Here, my point's 1, 0. Was that your point you said, -1, 0? What did you say?
No,
All right.
I said 0, 1.
OK. So, well, now the main thing is, though, this is in thirds, right? So I need to break this up into thirds. So I break it up into thirds. But it says you're only at 2 pi over 3. So actually, 0, 1 is not even going to be an actual point that we can use. It's just going to be 2 pi over 3, right? So I'm rotating my angle. Here's my initial angle. Here's my initial side and terminal side. So now I need to determine what this point is. So then go back to my lovely unit circle. And I notice that this distance is pi over 3, right? So that means I'm going to be using this point, which was pi over 3, which was the same thing as 60 degrees. So going back to how I created the unit circle, Gabby, what I had is this point is 1/2 comma square root of 3 over 2. All right. Now I notice that this point, though, the next one is 1/3 over, right? So these are the exact same point. It's just reflected over the y-axis. And now, since it's in the second quadrant, Caroline, what is going to be negative? The x. So guess what? The point, if this is my angle, that means now my point is -1/2 comma square root of 3 over 2. OK? Cool. All right. So now we need to evaluate all 6 trigonometric functions. All right. Blah. So I have sine of t, cosine of t, and tan of t. OK, so the sine of t, remember that represents the y-coordinate. I always like doing sine and cosine. Those are always fun. So that's square root of 3 over 2. Cosine is x. That's equal to the x-coordinate, so that's -1/2. Tangent, not so fun, right? Especially getting into these, because now we have to do y over x. And yes, you can do y over x, but the main important thing is you have to be able to simplify. So I will show you my work now, but I'm just going to tell you, coming up, I'm going to start moving through it. I'm not going to show every single step. So tangent, remember, is y over x. My y-coordinate is square root of 3 over 2 divided by -1/2. OK? So whenever you have a fraction divided by another fraction, you now need to multiply by the reciprocal on the top and the bottom. Correct? So this -1/2 times its reciprocal just multiplies to 1. Here, these 2's divide to 1. So therefore, my final answer is just a negative square root of 3. OK? Now let's go over to the next type of videos. To the reciprocal functions. So the cosecant of t is equal to 1 over y. The secant of t is equal to 1 over x. And the cot, better known as cotangent of t, is equal to x over y. All right. So 1 over y. That is going to be equal to 1 over the square root of 3 over 2. Again, guys, we have to multiply by the reciprocal. 2 over square root of 3. 2 over square root of 3. Anytime a number multiplied by a reciprocal, it goes to 1. So that leaves us with 2 over the square root of 3. But you better be joking if you think you're going to leave an irrational number in terms of the square root in your denominator. We need to now rationalize the denominator. So final answer is 2 square root of 3 over 3. Secant, 1 over -1/2. Again, multiply by the reciprocal. That goes to 1. You're just left with a -2. For cotangent, negative 1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2, multiplied by the reciprocal. That goes to 1. Those divide out. I'm left with a negative 1 over the square root of 3. Right? But then again, ladies and gentlemen, we have to rationalize the denominator. So therefore, I have a negative square root of 3 over 3. All right? Guys, I give you a lot of these for your problems because I'm telling you, we have to be able to do this very, very